Today I talk about the country of Japan. This is the flag of Japan, and second the small video about the Japan introduction. Let's move on the location of Japan. Japan is located in Iceland country in East Asia, and located in Pacific Ocean and bordered by the Sea of Japan and west extend from the Sea of Okhotsk of the north of the East China Sea is the in the south. If I talk about the language of Japan, like Japanese, Tokyo is the capital of Japan, and neighboring country like Russia, China, and South Korea. If I talk about population of Japan, around 121.96 million is a slightly downfall right now in 2025, and Japan is famous for the advanced technology. Let's move on economy sector of Japan, like industrial sector, service sector and agriculture sector. But service sector is the backbone of Japan GDP, around 71.4% of GDP, and industrial sector around 26.9% of GDP of Japan, and agriculture sector is the 1.1 of GDP of Japan, because Japan is isolated country, so that's why down ratio of the agriculture of GDP of Japan. Let's move on the SDG index rank 18th out of the 166 country, and SDG index score 79.81 and slip over the 74.25. It is good for Japan. If I talk about the SDG dashboard and trend, and no poverty SDG is most of achievable, and zero hunger is the downfall. It is very serious concern for Japan, and moderately improving SDGs number 7, 8, 9, and most of SDG like sustainable city and communities, most of SDG move on moderately improving, and standing like climate action, life below water, these SDGs move on standing by the dashboard. Let's move on the SDG number 5, like a gender inequality. Description: achieve gender inequality, empower all women and girls. Indicator: demand to family planning satisfied the modern methods. The ratio of female to male means year to education received. The ratio of female to male labor force participation rate. Shield set by women in national parliament. Gender wage gap. What is the challenges of this SDG number 5? The first challenge is the Japan gender wage gap is the 74.8%. Women's wage as percentage of men's. The one of the widest among the developed countries. Women hold only 10% seats in national parliament, is slightly decreased as compared to other countries. Let's move on the example. I compare with India and Japan. Uh, in gender wage gap, like a 74.5% women earn 7.75.5% of men wages. It's too much difference in between men's and women in Japan. In India, like 80% is women and 82% is men. If I talk about the political representation, 10% is women in parliament in Japan, and slightly increase in India, like 40.4% is women in parliament. There is the best example to SDG number 5. Let's move on the SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy. A population with access to electricity, population with access to clean fuel technology, cooking like carbon dioxide emission from combustion for total electricity. Let's move on challenges of this SDGs: electricity access, clean cooking fuels, carbon dioxide emission, and renewable energy. Around 20% in targeted around 2030 to 36 to 38%. Let's move on the indicator. Japan and China, the best example, easily understand. like carbon dioxide emission from the fossil fuel combustion, like a 71% of electricity from fossil fuel and emitting 3.8% of global emission, while China using 64% of electricity from fossil fuel and emitting 38% of global emission. It is slightly more as compared to Japan. Renewable energy 20% in 2020 30 23, and belonging the target is 36 to 38% in 2030, while China is the rapid growth in solar and wind energy. It is good for China for SDG number 7. Let's move on conclusion. In conclusion, Japan stands as a national of contrast, balancing the rich culture heritage, cutting edge the technology. As per the 20 Iceland country of east boast of the 1.121.96 million and the robust economy dominated like service sector, which is a contribute the 75 point of GDP is Japan. And if I talk about the very serious concern in parliament seat in women like a 10 percentage, so this is the main concern of the Japan. And Japan is the renewable sources against the 2030 around 36 percentage to 38 percentage, so it is good for Japan. And thank you, and this is the resources of the my content. Thank you.